So where are you?
Yeah, I'm in MDC Brooklyn, in a little side room.
This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. It's something that I'll never forget, actually.
Two men who once reigned over their respective empires now find themselves sharing meals, swapping stories, and facing off over chess games, all within the cold cinderblock walls of a Brooklyn detention center. It sounds like the premise of a dark comedy, but it's the stark reality for Sam Bankman-Fried, the disgraced crypto king, and might seem Diddy Call, the music mogul turned controversial inmate. The two are housed in the same high-security unit at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a facility notorious for its harsh conditions and high-profile residents. Once industry titans, they now navigate a world far removed from the power and luxury they once knew. How did they end up here? And what could these fallen giants possibly have in common? Buckle up, because this story is stranger than fiction.
But no one wants to be in prison. And you can imagine what happens when you take sort of 40 people, all of whom have been at least charged with crimes, and lock them in a single room for years on end and throw out the key, which is the most trivial things become all that people have left to care about.
Sam Bankman-Fried, once celebrated as the boy genius of cryptocurrency, is now a fallen figure. Just a few years ago, he was a billionaire prodigy, the founder of FTX, a crypto exchange that vowed to reshape the financial landscape. But his empire didn't just crumble. It imploded in spectacular fashion under a storm of fraud allegations, mismanagement, and outright deception. Prosecutors painted him as the mastermind behind one of the largest financial schemes in modern history, accusing him of siphoning billions from unsuspecting investors to prop up his hedge fund, Alameda Research. Collapse of FTX sent shockwaves through the financial world, leaving thousands scrambling to recover their lost fortunes. By November 2023, Bankman-Fried was convicted on multiple counts of fraud and money laundering, sealing his fate with a 25-year federal prison sentence, a far cry from the legacy he once envisioned.
I've had a lot of time to reflect on how to communicate, and in retrospect, I think I was not effective at communicating, especially when the crisis first hit. And, in the months thereafter, I made a mistake I often make. I get swept up in details and forget to communicate the bigger picture.
On the other hand, Sean Diddy Combs was a household name long before Sam Bankman-Fried ever entered the public eye. A music producer, rapper, and entrepreneur, Combs built an empire on chart-topping hit fashion ventures and lucrative endorsements. He was the embodiment of success, a mogul with the Midas touch. But behind the glitz and glamour, a far darker story was unfolding. Combs now faces shocking and damning allegations, with prosecutors accusing him of orchestrating a years-long pattern of exploitation, intricate schemes, and a web of enablers. Charges against him span from unethical behavior to outright criminal acts, and as disturbing details continue to surface, public remains in disbelief. Combs has vehemently denied the accusations, but with a trial looming in May, his once unshakable empire hangs in the balance.
Just incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent until proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent until proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent until proven guilty.
Now, let's set the stage. The Metropolitan Detention Center, better known as MDC Brooklyn, is no ordinary jail. This fortress-like facility looms over the Brooklyn waterfront, housing a mix of pretrial detainees and convicted criminals. Over the years, it has gained a notorious reputation for its harsh conditions, frequent lockdowns, and chronic staff shortages. Inmates describe it as a dark, grimy place where even basic necessities are scarce. Yet, despite its bleak environment, MDC Brooklyn has become an unexpected gathering place for some of the most high-profile names in the criminal justice system. From R. Kelly to Ghislaine Maxwell, the facility has housed its fair share of infamous residents. Now it counts Sam Bankman-Fried and Sean Diddy Combs among its ranks.
It's a legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day, oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor.
Despite their vastly different backgrounds, Sam Bankman-Fried and Sean Diddy Combs have formed an unlikely bond behind bars. Bankman-Fried, known for his awkward demeanor, has described Combs as kind and supportive. In a jailhouse interview, Tucker Carlson, he noted, "He's been kind to me. It's a position no one wants to be in. It's kind of soul-crushing. The two spend much of their time in the unit's common area, which features a TV, a few tables, and a chessboard. Chess has become a major pastime for Bankman-Fried. He regularly loses to surprisingly skilled opponents, including former gang members. "I was not expecting that," he admitted. While Combs isn't much of a player, he often watches the matches, offering commentary and cracking jokes to lighten the mood.
Of course, some of them are, I think are thinking like, wow, this is sort of a big opportunity, like, to meet people they wouldn't otherwise get to meet, which is, it shocked me the first time I heard that. Right? It makes sense from their perspective, but like, boy, is that not how I think about prison.
But their conversations extend far beyond chess and prison life. Bankman-Fried and Combs have reportedly delved into topics ranging from politics to business strategies, drawing on their shared experiences in high-stakes industries. Bankman-Fried has opened up about his regrets, reflecting on the choices that led to his downfall, while Combs has shared insights into the pressures of fame and the mistakes he's made along the way. It's a surreal dynamic. Two men who once wielded immense power and influence, now reduced to introspection and unexpected camaraderie in one of the most unlikely settings.
It's just interesting to me that with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone.
Yet, their bond is not without tension. While Bankman-Fried has described Combs as kind, some inmates whisper that the music mogul's larger-than-life persona hasn't entirely faded. He still carries himself with an air of expectation, and occasional outbursts suggest he's not accustomed to things not going his way. It's a stark contrast to the polished image he once projected. But in a place like MDC Brooklyn, nothing stays polished for long. Prison itself is a constant reminder of their harsh new reality. Long criticized for its inhumane conditions, MDC Brooklyn is plagued by overcrowding, unsanitary living spaces, and frequent lockdowns that confine inmates to their cells for hours or even days. For Bankman-Fried and Combs, this means isolation from the outside world, little opportunity for exercise, and virtually no privacy. It's a far cry from their once luxurious lifestyles, and adjusting hasn't been easy.
Well, Sierra, anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
Still, there are moments of levity amid the gloom. Bankman-Fried has taken to reading novels in his spare time, while Combs has reportedly started jotting down notes, possibly for a future memoir. The two have also found ways to support each other, whether through shared meals or late-night conversations about their cases. Despite their differences, they've found common ground in their struggle to adapt to life behind bars. Their unlikely friendship offers a glimpse into the human side of their stories. A reminder that even in the bleakest circumstances, connections can be forged, but make no mistake, the road ahead is uncertain. Both men face the prospect of years, if not decades, in prison, and the outcomes of their cases could shape their legacies for years to come.
Every jail is bad, and some jails are worse than others. And the problem, again, is if you move him, why is he getting special treatment? And maybe he's earned special treatment. Maybe what he's done, maybe he's given so much back to his fans and to the world and to charity that maybe there's a way that it plays out in the end. But again, to go into court and say this jail is bad, move him to another jail.
Will their unlikely friendship withstand the trials of prison life, or will the pressures of incarceration ultimately drive them apart? As the next chapter of their stories unfold, one thing is certain: this saga is far from over. The harsh realities of MDC Brooklyn have already taken their toll, but the real battle is just beginning. While their camaraderie may offer fleeting moments of normalcy, both men are entangled in legal fights that could define the rest of their lives. And let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't just about proving innocence. It's about survival in a system that doesn't care how powerful they once were. MDC Brooklyn, notorious for its brutal conditions, is a world away from the lives they once knew. For Bankman-Fried, who thrived in the fast-paced, tech-driven world of cryptocurrency, and for Combs, a man accustomed to private jets and red carpet, the adjustment has been nothing short of brutal. But beyond the grim walls of their confinement, the real fight lies ahead, in the courtroom.
What we see are just the people that are around us on the inside, rather than who we are on the outside.
Sam Bankman-Fried's legal team was working tirelessly on his appeal. Sentenced to 25 years for orchestrating one of the largest financial frauds in history, his future looked bleak, but he hadn't given up. He spent his days poring over legal documents, strategizing with his lawyers, and trying to salvage his reputation. In a jailhouse interview with Tucker Carlson, he argued that FTX's collapse could have been avoided given more time. The company should have been solvent, he insisted, claiming there was enough to repay investors, but his legal troubles went beyond business. His political donations, once heavily favoring Democrats, shifted to include Republicans before his trial, raising questions about whether he had tried to curry favor with lawmakers. Even Carlson pressed him on whether he had called in any favors, which he denied. The lingering question remained, was Bankman-Fried's downfall purely financial, or were there deeper forces at play?
Public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
Meanwhile, Diddy's legal troubles were just as dramatic. Facing a barrage of serious allegations, the music mogul's once glamorous image was unraveling. The accusations were staggering, casting a dark shadow over his legacy and leaving even his most loyal fans questioning everything they thought they knew. But Diddy wasn't going down without a fight. His legal team pushed hard for his release on bail, arguing that MDC Brooklyn's violent, overcrowded conditions, complete with reports of maggot-infested food, were unfit for someone of his stature. They insisted he should await trial from the comfort of his Miami mansion. The judge wasn't convinced. Bail was denied, leaving Diddy behind bars, a devastating blow for his family and supporters.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. How long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come?
The stakes were impossibly high for both men. Yet their legal strategies couldn't have been more different. Sam Bankman-Fried relied on logic and data, as if he could spreadsheet his way out of prison. He had even started drafting a manifesto, outlining what he believed went wrong with FTX, and how he planned to make amends. Diddy, on the other hand, leaned on his charisma and public image, framing himself as the victim of a witch hunt. His lawyers portrayed him as a misunderstood genius, his vision distorted by opportunistic accusers. Meanwhile, both men continued to endure the brutal realities of MDC Brooklyn. The overcrowded, understaffed facility was infamous for its harsh conditions, with frequent lockdowns that kept inmates confined for hours or even days. For Sam, this meant limited access to the legal materials needed for his appeal. For Diddy, it meant isolation from the outside world, unable to manage his businesses or communicate freely with his legal team.
But there's also strategic reasons for the prosecutors to want him to have co-defendants, because right now he hasn't waived his right to a speedy trial, which would force prosecutors to take up the trial pretty quick, which they actually might not be ready to do. But if they supersede him and have co-defendants with him, it makes it a lot easier to pursue a trial continuance without him waiving his speedy trial right.
Perhaps the most striking part of their time at MDC Brooklyn was how it stripped them of wealth, status, and power. Sam and Diddy were just two more inmates trying to get through the day. While their fame earned some respect, prison life didn't. Care about past accomplishments, survival depended on adaptation. Sam leaned into his intellect, making daily chess matches with fellow inmates a small escape from his legal troubles. Despite often losing to opponents with less formal education, games provided a rare sense of normalcy. Diddy, ever the charismatic leader, carved out a role for himself, whether organizing impromptu music sessions or offering advice to younger inmates. He found ways to maintain a sense of purpose. Still, both struggled with the psychological toll of incarceration. For Sam, endless hours of confinement led to obsessive reflection on the choices that had landed him there. Inmates often saw him pacing, muttering calculations under his breath, still searching for answers in numbers.
So, have you made friends there? Are you hanging with Diddy? I think he's in there with you.
He is. I don't know, he's been kind. I've made some friends. It's a weird environment. It's sort of a combination of a few other high profile cases and then a lot of,
Diddy, on the other hand, grappled with the pressure of maintaining his image behind bars. His charisma and influence earned him respect among inmates, but cracks in his facade occasionally surfaced. Rumors swirled about a clash with another high-profile detainee over control of the common area television, a seemingly minor dispute that underscored the fragile balance of power within prison walls. For a man who had always controlled his public narrative, lack of control in prison was wearing on him. Adding to the strain was the ever-present media spotlight, which neither he nor Sam could escape. Every aspect of their prison lives, meals, interactions, even their moods, became fodder for speculation. For Sam, the scrutiny was relentless, with critics dissecting his every move for signs of guilt or innocence. For Diddy, the attention was a double-edged sword. While it reinforced his status, it also meant that every misstep could be magnified 1,000-fold. The pressure was undeniable, a stark reminder that even in isolation, the world was still watching.
Not buying it all, Kana. And safety can mean a couple different things. Safety just doesn't mean free from harm of violence. Safety can also, too, mean emotional and mental dynamics that could occur by Sean Combs reaching out to potential witness to get them to possibly change their.
But the question remained, could either man truly come back from this? For Sam, the battle wasn't just about staying out of prison. It was about salvaging his reputation. His downfall had left a void in the cryptocurrency world, and many doubted whether he could ever regain the trust of investors. Diddy faced a different kind of reckoning. Even if he cleared his name, the allegations had already left a stain on his legacy that might never fully fade. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the world watched with bated breath. Would Sam's appeal succeed, granting him a second chance to rebuild his empire? Or would he spend the next 2 decades behind bars as a cautionary tale of ambition gone wrong? And what about Diddy? Could he convince a jury of his innocence? Or would the weight of the accusations be too great to overcome? The answers remained uncertain, but one thing was clear. Neither man's story was over yet.
Both sides in the Sean Diddy Combs case have until today to give answers for how the music mogul has been communicating from jail. Combs appearing in court last Friday seeking bail while he awaits trial. He's been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since September.
One thing was certain. The road ahead for both men was anything but clear. Their trials would be among the most closely watched legal battles in recent memory, consequences reaching far beyond the walls of MDC Brooklyn. As they braced for what lay ahead, Sam and Diddy could only hope that the unlikely bond they had formed behind bars might offer some measure of support in an uncertain future. But can either man truly find redemption? Or will they forever be defined by their downfalls? More importantly, what does their story reveal about power, success, and the cost of ambition? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this unfolding saga. Until next time.